Yo, what's up guys? I'm Nuo, and today I'm going to be going over one of my favorite Warlock builds this season. One of the reasons I like to make builds on Warlock so much is that all of the subclasses have opportunities to make unique builds, from Dawnblade to Storm Trance to Nova Bomb, to Stasis Turrets, to Well of Radiance, to Chaos Reach, and finally, what today's video is going to be focusing on, a Devour build. Every season there's a new build for Devour, and that's because the class is so incredibly strong in solo content with the full health regen and the grenade regeneration, that it really can't be overlooked. The build is primarily going to focus around the returning mod Passive Guard, as well as everyone's favorite legendary sword, the Falling Guillotine. The most commonly used exotic with Devour is Nezarec Sin, and we're going to be using that today as well. This build is going to be very efficient at clearing legendary lost sectors in very short times, and also potentially master lost sectors if you're on level. What this build will not be good at is going against Grandmaster level champions and content where you are severely underleveled, like Master Vault of Glass. In order to make sure our ammo economy is good, we'll be using Enhanced Sword Scavenger from the Seasonal Artifact, as well as 2 Sword Ammo Finder mods to make sure we're getting as many heavy bricks as possible. Ideally, you'll pair this with a Void Pulse Rifle, like Graviton Lance, to have increased heavy ammo drops, but depending on the elemental shields in the lost sector you're doing, this might not be possible. So you might have to mess around with different kinetic and energy weapons. To start the build, we're going to be using the mod Elemental Armaments, which was released in Season of the Chosen and can be acquired from the War Table. This mod states, weapon takedowns with a damage type that match your subclass element have an escalating chance to spawn an elemental well. Basically, this means the more things you kill with your sword or any other void weapon, the more likely you are to spawn an elemental well. Majors and yellow bars are even more likely to spawn elemental wells than red bars. If you are unfamiliar with how elemental wells work, basically when you spawn an elemental well, it will be a glowing orb on the ground, and picking up the elemental well grants energy to your ability with lowest current energy. However, if you pick up an elemental well that matches your subclass, you'll get ability energy to all your abilities. That is not the reason this build uses elemental wells, but it is a nice bonus. So we can spawn wells with our weapons, but we're also going to be using the mod Elemental Ordnance, which will allow us to spawn elemental wells with grenade kills. This mod can also be acquired from the War Table from Season of the Chosen. Because of the way Nezarec Sin works, we're going to be getting grenades super often, so defeating a combatant with grenades spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type. There's an internal cooldown on this mod, so not every grenade kill is going to spawn elemental well, but you can be safe if you're throwing your grenade every 10 seconds, every kill you get is going to spawn an elemental well. There's an internal cooldown on this mod, so not every kill with your grenade is going to spawn an elemental well. However, if you're throwing your grenade every 15-20 seconds or so, you can be sure as long as it gets 1 kill, there'll be 1 elemental well on the ground. Alright, so now that we've discussed how we're spawning elemental wells, let's discuss how we're going to use them. The first mod is Font of Might, acquired from the War Table from Season of the Chosen. Picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same elemental type. This mod was just buffed last season, and instead of providing a 10% damage bonus like it used to, it now provides a 25% bonus, and this mod currently stacks with global buffs such as Lucent Blade and Well of Radiance. Speaking of Lucent Blade, we're going to be using the mod Elemental Charge. This mod is also acquired from the War Table from Season of the Chosen. This mod states, become charged with light by picking up an elemental well. If the elemental well's element type matches your subclass element, you gain 2 stacks of charged with light. So every time we get one of those void elemental wells from either our weapon or our grenade, we're going to get 2 stacks of charged with light. And then we will use those stacks of charged with light with the mod Lucent Blade, as I hinted at. This mod can be acquired from Ada 1's rotating daily inventory. While charged with light, dealing damage with a sword gives you bonus sword damage for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of charged with light. The mod also has a secondary perk that says greatly increases the recharge rate for your equipped swords. Unfortunately, I don't have any room on my armor at the moment to put in an arc mod. However, if you have room on your armor, which you should have room on anything but your arms in your class item, you can slot another arc mod such as Outreach, which will apply the secondary perk. But like I said, because I'm using Passive Guard, I don't have room on my bond. So if when you're designing your armor set for this build, try to get an arc piece on either your chest, your boots, or your helmet. Let's review everything we have so far. Getting a kill with a void weapon or our void grenade will spawn an elemental well. Picking up that elemental well will both give us 2 stacks of charged with light and give us a 25% damage bonus for 10 seconds. When we hit something with our sword, we get a 35% damage bonus to our sword for 5 seconds per stack of Charged with Light. Additionally, each time we pick up an elemental well, we get a little bit of ability energy back. On top of that, every void kill we get is going to activate the perk Abyssal Extractors, which reduces the cooldown of our super, grenade, melee, and rift. Finally, every kill we get is going to heal us to full health and recharge a portion of our grenade. Now let's quickly run through the numbers. For all of the testing, I had taken spec on my sword, so while the ratios are accurate, the total damage might be a little bit off. A base light attack with the sword hits for 16,302 damage. Lucent Blade will bump that damage up to 22,007. This is a 35% damage increase. The Void Weapon boost from Font of Might will hit for 20,377 damage. This is a 25% damage bonus. If you multiply those two things together, you get about a 69% damage bonus. And that's not even taking into account Whirlwind Blade. Whirlwind Blade adds an additive 6% per stack, so at 1 stack you're dealing 6% extra damage, at 2 stacks 12%, all the way up to 5 stacks an additional 30% damage. In total, you're seeing about a 120% damage increase when you use this build with your sword. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a comment below saying speeds is dumb. And don't forget to like and subscribe as well. That's all I've got for now. Have a good one.